all right. I got my man Mike on the phone, man. He's a white guy, grew up in the projects in the hood. He's gonna tell you who he is, where he's from, and he's gonna give you a little insight on how, you know, the gangs move as far as with the white guys. Tell him who you are and where you from, Mike. Give him a short synopsis.
Yeah, my name's Mike Wood, and I'm from Canton, Ohio. Uh, I'm 64 years old. Well, I'll be 64 in a couple more days. Um, and then I'm in for I killed a guy when I was a juvenile, and I've been in for 45 and a half years now, since March 12th of 1978.
So you've been in since 1978 when you was 18, and you're now getting ready to turn 64 on the 30th of this month.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
happy early birthday. Sorry, you got to send another one in. you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get into a full blown joint with you, but right now I want you to explain to them what an independent is and what the brand is. What's the difference, and how you moved and survived in the prison, being a white guy.
Well, as far as the federal system goes, it's a lot different than states. All states are different, just like Ohio is different from the feds. They do things. The politics is way different in the feds, more stringent in the feds. But in the federal system, uh, there's two types of persons. There's the independent, which means if you say you're independent, because the people already ask you, are you tipped up or are you independent? And if you say I'm independent, that means he's not a gang member, or he's not affiliated with the gang members, and he just does his own thing until he needs to step up with other independent dudes to do whatever they need to do. And most of that's fighting the gangs or whatever. And then if somebody says they're tipped up, that means they're affiliated or in a particular gang.
Mm. Okay, so was you tipped up or was you independent?
I've always been independent. Yeah, I've
Okay,
never been tipped up, and yeah, straight independent.
okay. How did you survive being a white dude and telling the brands that you're independent? How was that for you?
Well, in the way it works in the federal system is nobody's going to fault you whether you're a gang member or whether you're independent on any yards. It depends on what you do, is what people are going to find fault with. So, like, when I was in the federal system, because of my record from Ohio, everything that I've done in my Ohio days, dudes were impressed with that, and so when I left the ADX the first time where I met you at, and every yard that I was on there on, I ran a yard for the white dudes, for basically the independent dudes, and then the gangs were on the yard. They had a following with the politics that we had on the yard, which was pretty stringent, and so I never had any issues with the gangs until you know as a shocker on the yard, you have to keep control of everybody, and you're the one that decides the politics on the yard and who stays, who goes, and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And like I used to tell some of the gang members, like if I'm smashing white dudes that are independents off the yard, and you're doing the same thing, I said, don't think I won't put hands on you, because I said if I don't, that just shows weakness on my part, and it's never going to work out like that. And so you guys got to follow the same rules that we have on the yard that everybody else does. And most of the time they do, but there's been some times where they don't, and I make the call, and sometimes I have to smash some of the gang members off the yard. And there's a few of the gangs I can think of off the top of my head that do some really stupid shit that they think because they're in a gang. A bunch of, there's a lot of weak dudes that join gangs, and then when they join the gang, they think they're a real tough guy. because they got all this back behind them, but they can go, they fall just like anybody else to me, and so I've smashed quite a few of them off the yards in my day, and which I had quite a few yards that I was on, and I was a shot caller on every one of them motherfuckers, and so
Okay, let me ask you this. What are some of the politics? You said that they had to follow the politics and the rules. Give us an idea of the politics and the rules.
All right. Well, let's see. Well, one thing uh, everybody, it was mandatory. Everybody's paperwork is checked when they come in. If you don't have it's a mandatory. You have to have your paperwork to see if you got any downward departures. That means if you told on anybody in your case, sold anybody else, snitched on them or whatever, and you have to have that within 30 days. Give maybe 6 weeks at the longest if you can show the hold up on it. And if you don't have it, you're going to be told, hey, get off the yard and go to the hole, and you can come back out when you have your paperwork with you. And the reason we do that is because a lot of guys come on the yards and they'll start running up dope bills and get a whole bunch of dope from dudes, and then right before they think that they have to show their paperwork, then they run and check in, and they owe all these bills and stuff, and it's just bad on the white guys because it makes them look bad, that some hunky came out there and ran up thousands of dollars of bills and took off, and nobody got any retribution. And the same thing with weapons. The politics is if you come on the yard, you can't have a weapon until you show your paperwork. And the reason for that, and listen, I've run a lot of them yards, and I can tell you for a fact that dudes, if you give them a weapon, most of them dudes will turn that weapon, go in there and turn that weapon in after they run up their bills and everything. They'll turn the weapon into the SIS, and just so they can get a transfer real quick and get out of that prison, rather than sitting back there for. If you remember, sometimes they'd have to sit back there for a year or something if they checked in. Mm-hmm. But if they turn a weapon in, they could get out of there within a couple months or a month or something. And there's a whole lot of other, but like with the gangs, it gets a little bit more racial and political because most of the gangs, the white gangs, they don't want dudes breaking bread with any other race. If they catch it, for instance, if they catch any of the gang members, they're not allowed to go in the cells with any of the blacks and drink with them or nothing like that. If they ain't allowed to eat together, and this as well as I do, is that even in the chow hall, they're not allowed to sit at the same tables. All that stuff like that. There's just so much politics in the feds.
Okay, let me ask you this. So if you go check somebody's paperwork and they tell you, they don't have it, and they not going nowhere, or it comes and there's something questionable on it, downward departure, or they told child molestation or anything, what happens there?
Well, first of all, 26 years, and you know as well as I do. Like, for your listeners, is when you're a shot caller on a yard, what you say is like God speaking. But what you say goes on the yard. That's just how it works. And I've never heard anybody ever say when you tell them to go to the hole to get their paperwork, but they can't stay on the yard. I've never heard anybody say I ain't going, or you can't make me, or nothing like that. Because they know that they're going to get hands put on.
So what happened if they do? What would happen if they do?
If they do, well, there's going to be somebody on standby. There might be, depends who it is. Sometimes there's 2, sometimes 3, 4, or however many it takes. And if they was to say, I ain't going nowhere, everybody going to tell me what to do, all you got to do is turn your back and walk away, and that means the dudes that are around are supposed to be on standby to beat these dudes up are going to go over there and blood them up and send them on their way, send them to the hole, and they're going to go to the hospital or worse, If they try to fight back too much, they're going to get stabbed up and crippled or whatever. If they don't, they're, the rule is that nobody can leave the yard walking. They have to be blooded up and on a cart most of the time to leave the yard. Because if you don't do it right, to us it's an embarrassment. To white, it's an embarrassment. Oh man, that dude walked off the yard. You jumped that mother, man. And then what's going to happen is the dude's going to say, well, you dudes gotta make up for it next time. So you go on the next mission too when you get out of the hole. So they always do it right the first time.
Okay, because a lot of these dudes out here, they say, if I get caught, I'm doing this. I'm not doing time for nobody. What happens when they wind up in there amongst, the men?
It depends on their violation. Guarantee if they snitched on somebody, they're not going to last on a yard. They're going to be found out. Even if they sneak some paperwork in, eventually somebody's going to do some research on it, and they're going to find out. They got some good investigating prisoners that can find anything out they want to be. As long as it's been on record, they can find it out. And what's going to happen is if you walk on the yard and you've downward departure, you've told on people and stuff like that, now each yard is a little bit different. I know there are some yards I've been on where they'll just beat the dude up and smash him, blood him up, break his nose or whatever like that. And then there's some that if he's been, if he's telling and snitching on other people, then he's got to get the knife put to him. There's no way about it. He's got to have the knife put to him. And listen, I've had so many dudes come up to me over the years running those yards and say, hey, listen, I know I got to put my work in, but I ain't just trying to beat nobody up. I just came in with a life sentence, and I'm trying to take his life, or I'm trying to stab somebody up really good. Because they're trying to get a reputation, because they just come in and they're independent, or they want to be a aspiring gang member, or whatever the case may be.
That's
and
deep.
So if the dude's got to have it really coming, then you call one of them people and say, hey, you're on deck now. That weapon, go get your weapon and take care of your business. Here's what the guy did, so that you know what you're stabbing him up for.
Okay.
You have 1 minute.
Okay, so for the last minute, tell what happens if you tell a dude that he's on deck and he said, man, I'm trying to go home. I'm just trying to do my bid, man. That's why I'm an independent.
Well, he can't say no. Everybody's got to put their work in on the yard. If he says no, there's going to be 2 dudes that are going to, within that hour or less, he's going to be smashed, beat up, sent out to the hospital, and his whole career is over with. Every yard he ever goes on, he's going to be smashed off the yard. And so he's going to live in PC the rest of his bit. Because if he keeps coming to yards, everybody's going to feel disrespected, and then they're going to put the steel to it. So he either fights the first time or fights a whole bunch of other times, saving his own ass, or live in PC the rest of his life, or the rest of his bit.
All right, but the joint gonna cut off. Thanks, man. Call back at 12:30, and we see where we go from there. We can start over in the morning, whatever is convenient for you. All right.
Thank you for using GTL.
All right, that was my man Mike, man. I just wanted you to hear it from a brother that been in there 45 years. 45 years. These are my comrades. These are our comrades. And these are our comrades we want to bring home, because I'm going to show you how they've been rehabilitated and time has calmed their fighting spirits. As far as the aggressive, negative fighting spirit, now they just fighting the courts and parole trying to get out. So, we've been on here long enough. I just want to let y'all know none of this is worth it. Follow me on Instagram. It's on the screen. That's the Cash App. Make sure it says it was created in 2020. So push the icon. Make sure it says created 2020. They duplicated it in 2023. So if you see anything with 2023, it's not me. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Cop the book of Ruin Harlem. Download the videos on my podcast at Unique Mecca Audio and check me out on Roku at Unique Mecca Audio. And you know, it is what it is, man. I'm going to bring you some more with my brother Mike so you can hear and see what is really going on, because I want y'all to understand that we bring you the real over here at Unique Mecca Audio. All right?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime. What?
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. Bruh. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Real. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. Baby horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community yours. So we can give back to the youth them, cause they the truth them, and bless up to all the root men.